Hello guys, how you doing? I hope you guys have been well. Me? I'm very hot. And no, not that type of hot, as in it's really hot outside. Hot. Oh my god. I had the fan on. It's a little better. It's just really... It's funny because where I live, like last week, it was really, really rainy. And it was really cold. So it's just funny how like a week later, all of a sudden it's like almost 90 degrees outside. I don't think it's like 85 degrees out right now, but still it's pretty hot, it's pretty muggy. Okay, you guys are probably wondering what this is. Obviously this isn't the 200th episode because, yeah. What we're going to do today, to keep you guys entertained, so you guys have been waiting so long for the 200th, we're going to be reading a fanfic. I know I have read one of my fanfics to you guys well, I didn't actually read it to you. I mentioned it in a review. The fanfic, I'm the Only One. Well, guess what? I'm starting a little series today where I'm going to be reading that old school on this webcam to you guys. I figured we would do, well, first of all, we need to get to the page with the fanfic. Yeah. So while we're looking for the page, find my old self. Yeah, my old fanfic account was called Todd666. It's still up. Some of you know that. Most of you do, actually. So, yes, I made this account back in June of 2008, so I was 18 at the time. 23 now. I'm going to go on 24 in October. So, yeah, these stories are old. They're very old. So yes, we're going to be reading I'm the Only One, which has 37 chapters, over 4,725 words. It has 292 reviews. This fanfic I tore apart on my web show. I think it was like episode 45. It was like from way back when in FanFic Critic days. So we're going to be probably reading, I'd say, see, it's 35. We're going to read 10 chapters per episode. And, you know, with the fourth part, it'll be just the 7 chapters. Oh, wait, no, what am I talking about? Yeah, 7 chapters for the fourth part. So this is going to be 4 parts altogether. Now, before we go on with that, I just wanted to explain what's been going on with the 200th episode, why you guys are probably like, where is it? Okay, I'm done with the main edits. I put it in Windows Movie Maker and I added like very brief little effects, not like major effects, but like little touch-ups, like fade in, fade out, like little transitions a little bit. Not too many things, because when I send it to Movie 30, he's going to be doing like the final touch-ups and stuff, and like, you know, putting in the opening title and ending credits, whatnot. Well, the thing is, I did that a couple of weeks ago, and I tried several times to publish the final file. But for some strange reason, Windows Movie Maker, it would not finish making the file. It would stop at like 98% and then just freeze. Because what I would do, I would set it up to make the file, then I'd go to work, because, you know, I work nights. I'd get home at like 3 in the morning, sometimes 4 in the mornings, depending on the day, and I'd see it's still saying like 98%, and it's like, you're kidding me. So I decided I would break it up into 2 parts. The episode's going to be broken up into 2 parts anyway, but I wanted to send it to Movie 30 as one huge file, but I've had to break it up into parts, so 2 parts. That's been a little delayed, not because I've been having issues with Windows Movie Maker. I got the first part set up, haven't sent it to him yet, but it's been taking a while for that, to be perfectly honest, because I've just been busy with work and family stuff. I mean, if you guys are asking specifically what family stuff, that's none of your business. So, yeah. Hopefully it'll be out soon. I am working the next couple days, but I'm planning on trying to work on the second part probably a bit tomorrow, get it published, and then hopefully by Sunday I'll have both parts. They'll be uploaded to YouTube, but you guys won't be seeing them because they'll probably be private, and I'll take them down once when Movie 30 gets them. So don't think you're going to get a sneak peek, because it's not going to happen. So, yes, just wanted to give that brief explanation. I want to thank you all again for being so patient. As for other things, obviously this isn't a commentary. This is just something out of boredom. And I never gave this fanfic a proper review on my show, so you know what, I might as well just do a reading of it. This was published back in, I started it in August of 2008, so I'd say a couple months before I turned 19, and I finished the story in, like, February of 2009. I don't know, I think this is, like, my most popular story, and I don't know why. It was stupid. So let's read the summary. Complete. A.U. Sweeney comes home to find out that Lucy is alive and well. Swell, except for the fact that she isn't what he thought she was all of those years ago. Can Mrs. Lovett make Sweeney see Lucy for who she really is? Gradual Sweenette, of course. Yeah, this is like the story I wrote where I made Lucy very unlikable. And the thing is, I don't dislike Lucy. I like Lucy's character, so I don't know why I wrote this. I was kind of obsessed with Sweeney Todd when I was younger. If my first FanFic Critic episode wasn't hinted enough at that, and, you know, with the whole razor blade and stuff. I'm not sure if I showed you guys this razor. This isn't the same razor from before. This is actually one that my sister bought me, I'd say about a year ago. I had her buy it for me because the other one I permanently broke. This one is an actual real blade, which is probably why you don't see me actually using it like I use the other one, because this one I could probably, yeah. So yeah, it's just, if I have it, I don't think I'll have the Critic open up. It'll probably just be like that, or I might have it like that and that's it. But yeah, it's sharp, it's dangerous, so in the case if you guys ever meet me in person, if I have it on me, try not to grab it, especially if it's open like this, because I really don't want you guys to cut your hand. It would hurt. Okay then, let's get that out of the way. Now, I recommend that you guys grab some pistachios, get yourself some rum and coke if you're over the age of 21, and enjoy. Author's note. In this story, Toby is Mrs. Lovett's biological son. Lucy is alive and well, unfortunately. In this story, the POV will switch between Mrs. Lovett and Sweeney Todd for each chapter. Enjoy. So the first chapter is Mrs. Lovett. Okay, I'm going to do my best impression of a Cockney accent. I wrote it in like a Cockney accent, but it was stupid, so here we go. It was a simple day for me, it was. I had sent me boy out to the butcher to get some fresh supplies for me pies. Told him to get the cheapest meat, seeing we don't have the money. There were days that I wondered how I kept the business running since me out had passed. Even though some people eat at me shop, it's only enough to keep me and me son living. Oh, how I wish that some miracle would show up at my door. Why do I have her say me all the time? I should say my door. Yeah. Whatever. And that miracle did come one October day, and my life changed forever. Okay, I guess this is kind of first person. That was weird. This whole entire paragraph should be whatever. I was cutting up some vegetables when he entered my shop. I looked at him and immediately recognized him from the past. Hurrying over to him, I hugged him, very happy to see that he returned. "Oh, Ben, I knew you'd come back," I mutter. I am taken aback when he shoves me away. "No, not Parker," he growls. "That man is dead. It's told now. Sweeney told." I stare at him for a moment, a bit stunned by his coolness. I have to keep in mind that he's been rotting in Australia for 15 years, so I smile at him and invite him into my parlour for a drink of gin. I see him watching me as I pour his drink. His once kind eyes are as black as coal. The only thing I see in them is anger and sorrow. "Here you go, love. Drink it down," I say to him. He looks up at me as he takes the glass. "Where's my family?" he asks quietly. "Oh yes, the glorious Lucy." I try and, you know what, I'm just going to read this in Susan's voice. I can't do the stupid Cockney accent. Hold on. I try not, then I have to get into this. I try not to make a face when he asks. "They're living down Main Street," I answer. He sits there for a moment, drinking his gin. "What's their address?" 110 is the number. It's by the courthouse. Be careful, I warn him. The courthouse is where the great Judge Turpin works. If he was to find out Sweeney Todd's true identity, I'd never see the man again. After drinking all of his gin, he leaves without a word. I sigh, thinking that either way I'll never see him again. So I go back to my kitchen. and continue to chop vegetables for me and my son's lunch. Transition. Toby and I are in the middle of eating when he enters my shop once again, or me shop once again, because I guess Mrs. Lovett turned into Jar Jar Binks. I look at him in shock, wondering why the hell he's back. He stares at nothing as he sits with us. The boy is looking from me to Sweeney. "Mom, who is this?" he asks me. "An old friend, dear. His name is Sweeney Todd," I answer. Mr. Todd says nothing to either of us, which concerned me a lot. I don't know why it's concerning you. I don't remember you mentioning a Mr. Todd before. Toby replies quietly, eyeing Sweeney suspiciously. I give Toby a stern look. "Why don't you go eat in the parlor? I have some things to discuss with Mr. T," I say to him. Toby looks like he's going to protest, but me stern look send him off. Sends with an S past me, you bubblehead. I turn my attention back to Mr. Todd, who is still staring off to space. Staring off to space. I guess it's supposed to be the accent, but it should say staring off into space. I don't know. "Mr. Todd, are ye all right? Are ye?" I didn't know this was Shakespearean times, too. "Mr. Todd, are you all right? What happened?" I asked him. He turned his gaze upon me when I speak. The look on his face is unbearable. My thoughts darken, knowing that it was the good-for-nothing Lucy who had hurt him so. Sorry. "What happened?" I ask him again. "She said that I'm not a husband, and that said that I changed," he mutters softly. "Says that she loves the Beetle now." What? I had Lucy and the Beetle a couple in this story? Ew, 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 that's gross. Said she's going to marry him. 1 minute. Close the door. My eyes widen when I hear this. Her loving the Beetle bollocks. I know her real reason to want to marry filth such as himself. It's 'cause he has money. That's why she's living in that big fancy house. I don't say this to Mr. Todd, though. I didn't want to upset him more. So are we to assume that Mrs. Lovett did not know that the Beetle and Lucy were living together? Oh, well, maybe, I don't know. But she acts stupid here. Oh, no, never mind. I think she already knew about it, but, the whole loving, I don't know, whatever. She was forced to say those things. Mr. Todd continues, snapping me out of me thoughts. What? I asked in disbelief. It's the judge and the Beetle that are keeping her and Joanna from me. He mutters darkly. I give him a concerned look. He returns my gaze with a blank stare. I smile slightly at him, standing up. Tell you what, I'll let you have your old apartment back, and you can be a barber again. I know I got your old razors around here somewhere. He perks up slightly when I mention the razors. You kept them? He asks. Of course. I wasn't going to let the judge get his greedy little hands on him. I answer with a chuckle. He looks confused when he stands and faces me. Why didn't Lucy keep them? He asks me quietly. She didn't want them, I answer honestly. Again, the poor man looks defeated. I sigh slightly, taking him by the arms and leading him into my new parlor. Toby watches us both in curiosity when we enter. Mr. Todd looks stunned when he sees the boy for the first time. Mrs. Lovett, who is this? He asks me in utter confusion. I laugh at his question. He's me son, you silly man. His name is Toby. Say hello, Toby. Hello, sir, Toby says shyly. Mr. Todd nods at Toby, showing a quick smile. Okay, he does not smile at a character. Come along, Mr. Todd. Let's see if we can find those razors, I mutter as I lead us upstairs. After a few minutes of searching the room, I find the box containing his razors and I give them to Mr. Todd. He takes them from me like they're fragile china. My friends, he whispers quietly. I smile at him, happy to see that he's happy. When I think about that Lucy, I get furious. Mr. Todd, why don't you make yourself comfortable in the parlor with the lad? I have somewhere to go, I say calmly. I feel his eyes on me as I descend down to the parlor. After telling Toby to keep Mr. Toad's company, I head out of the shop and storm off to Main Street. Seeing that this is a new thing I'm trying, please forgive me if it's crappy so far. Well, seeing I'm your future self, I'm not going to forgive you for writing such a shitty story. Especially seeing you later become the fanfic critic. In fact, I think I was the fanfic critic when I made this. Was I? No, I don't know. Maybe not. No, because... I don't know. I think I technically started fanfic critic, like, in May of 2009, and I mean, if you guys are going by YouTube, definitely not, because I started posting videos on YouTube in January 2010. But I do believe I started to do the web show, like, in May of 2009, so, wow. I've been doing it for, technically, 4 years now, I'd say. If you're going by, MySpace standards, because I did the show on MySpace first, and then I got, someone talked me into putting it on YouTube. So, yeah. Okay, then, no, this fanfic was done before I did it then, by a few months, but still. Yeah. Well, then again, the web show was not that great back then either, so... I wanted to try to write a story in first person, so the next chapter I'll be writing the story from Sweeney's point of view. Please review. Well, I will give myself kudos. I think it was clever to have Toby be Mrs. Lovett's son, and I guess changing perspectives from chapter to chapter is interesting, but I think I should have just written it without the accent, but... Other authors would put the accent in there too, but I severely overdid it. It's just, no, that's not an accent. That's yuck. Okay, here's chapter 2. I am pleasantly surprised that everyone seems to like this story so far. As promised, here's chapter 2, Sweeney Todd. I'll just read this in my normal voice. So here's the deal. Susan's voice for the Mrs. Lovett chapters, my normal voice for the Sweeney Todd chapters. I watch as Mrs. Lovett walks away from me. The tone in her voice piqued my interest, seeing she sounded slightly mad. When she's out of sight, I look at one of my silver friends. Stroking it gently, I place it back inside of its box with the others. Soon, I whisper as I place the box inside of my jacket. I head down to the parlor and sit beside Mrs. Lovett's son. Judging by the look of him, I'd say he's around 10 years old. I'm very thankful that he mostly resembles his mum more than his pig of a father, Albert. I can only assume that he got his dark chocolate hair from Albert, seeing Mrs. Lovett's hair is a fiery red. The boy looks over at me with his critical eyes. Are you going to be living with us? Are you going to be living above us, sir? He asks. I nod at him, looking to Mrs. Lovett's piano so I don't have to look at the lad's eyes. He's so much like his mother when he doesn't seem to trust someone. Did Mum tell ya where she's going? He asks. Reluctantly, I look at him. No, she didn't, I answer flatly. The boy keeps his gaze on me for a minute before looking to the bottle of gin in his hands. I raise my eyebrows at him. Aren't you a little young for that stuff? I ask him to change the subject. He shrugs, taking a swing. I drink it whenever I'm stressed or can't sleep, he answers simply. Why are you stressed? He looks over at me again, seeming like he's warming up to my presence slightly. The business and all. Mum's the best cook in all of London, and no one takes her seriously. I mean, yes, she uses the cheapest meat, but she makes the best of it, you know. The boy rants, eventually taking another swing of gin. Well, now that I'm here, I could help your mum out, I say to him. The boy smiles slightly. We'd both like that, even though Mum wouldn't want to admit it, the boy mutters. I allow a small smile to spread on my face. Alas, Mrs. Lovett has always been a stubborn woman. It's then when both me and the boy hear the pie shop door open and a lot of muttered cursing. I get up and head to the pie shop. I see Mrs. Lovett storming towards the counter, looking very angry. I notice that her hair is messier than normal and that she looks all ruffled up. Ruffled? Don't you mean ruffed? Ruffed up? Ruffed? Whatever. Mrs. Lovett, where have you been? I ask her. She jumps slightly to the sound of my voice and only turns slightly to speak. Nowhere important, she answers. My eyes narrow slightly as I approach her. I place my hand on her shoulder and turn her to face me. I'm a bit shocked by what I see. She has a couple of bruises on her arms and she has a bloody lip. She doesn't meet my gaze when I look down at her. What happened? I ask her. She doesn't speak at first, but when I tighten my grip on her shoulder, she finally looks up at me and talks. I decided to have a small chat with Lucy, she says reluctantly. I could feel anger bubbling up inside me, but I try to suppress it to hear the woman out. She didn't like what I had to say, so she had her bodyguards, to put it appropriately, throw me out. As you can see, they weren't exactly gentle, she mutters. I say nothing for a moment, trying to calm my nerves. You didn't strike her, did you? I ask her quietly. She looks shocked when I ask this, somewhat hurt, too. Of course not. If I had so much as poked her, she'd probably break. Shut up, I snapped. You are not to speak of my wife like that. She looks taken aback by my words. I do feel bad, but I was not going to tolerate her degrading Lucy. Mrs. Lovett pulls herself free from my grasp and quickly retreats to the parlor. I stand there for a minute before I go to pursue her. When I enter the parlor, she's nowhere in sight, and I see your son giving me a dangerous look. I do hope, sir, that it wasn't you who gave her that bloody lip, he says in almost a growl. He says in almost a growl. Have it say he growled. I didn't strike your mom, I shot back at him, rather annoyed that he thought that I would do such a thing. He keeps his critical glare on me before he heads into the pie shop. Where are you going? I ask him. I'm going to open the shop, he answers before disappearing completely. I take a seat on the couch, resting my head in my hands. The day has been so disastrous so far. First, my wife rejects me, and now I find out that Mrs. Lovett most likely picked a fight with her. I know that the woman means well, seeing that she was the same way she was when we were kids and young adults, but it is frustrating when she takes matters into her own hands. And I'm assuming that they were supposed to be friends when they were kids, I guess. After a while, Mrs. Lovett comes back down to her second floor apartment, looking cleaned up. She neither looks nor says anything to me as she heads into the pie shop. Growling slightly, I reach for the gin that the boy's been drinking, and I take my own swing of it. Everything will be better when the judge and the beadle are dead. I know it. I have faith that Lucy and Joanna will come back to me after the threat is dead. When that day comes, we will move far away from the filthy hellhole of London and never walk in its crummy streets again. The only thing I hope is that my faith is right. Wait, what? The only thing that I hope is that my faith is right and terribly wrong. My faith is right and terribly wrong. My faith is right and terribly wrong. I think I'm missing a word in there. Because if Lucy still rejects me after my revenge, I don't know what I'll do. She already rejected you. Let's just read the author's note. You are probably wondering why Lucy has bodyguards. Well, it's because she's involved with the beadle, Gag Puke. He has them there to protect her. Why did I feel the need to make an author's note explaining this? My sister.
Thank you for the pretty thing.
You're welcome. I got her something for her birthday.
Pretty thing.
You're welcome.
Gorgeous fucking thing.
This is probably the only time you'll hear her voice.
It's pretty, and it's so worth it. Thank you.
You're welcome. This will be uploaded, by the way, so...
That's okay.
Okay.
You don't see me, so it's okay.
Yeah, all you hear is her voice. Alright, close the door. Bye-bye. Well, the best you can. In an old house. Okay, anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, why did I feel the need to mention this? I mean, I don't know. This is young me. This is stupid 18-year-old me. Ugh. I know I make stupid decisions now, too, but I was a lot stupider back then. Oh, my God. Okay, so, let's move on to Chapter 3, which will probably take longer to read because it'll be in the Mrs. Lovett's thing. The chapter is called Buying, Painting, and Caring. Wait, okay, let's read the chapter names. I'm going to read all the chapter names to you. So the first chapter is called Return to Fleet Street. Second chapter is called Confrontations. Third chapter, Buying, Painting, and Caring. I'll just read the chapter names as we go through the chapters. We're going to be reading 10 chapters in this part, so okay then. This is the Mrs. Lovett chapter. Oh well, we're already 24 minutes in. Ha ha ha, well, these are going to be long, so I'll keep you guys entertained. Okay. Thank you all for this support. Enjoy, Mrs. Lovett. The boy and I have decided to close the shop for a few days to help Mr. Toll to get his establishment ready, while Toby gets to work by peeling off the moldy wallpaper off the walls. Mr. Toll and I head off to the market to buy some necessities and furniture. It takes us about a half an hour to get to the marketplace. To my dismay, it's crowded. Oh, wonderful, I mutter when I see the large crowd. I was hoping that I wouldn't be so busy today. It'll be fine, Mr. Todd says softly. Scanning the crowd, I roll my eyes, knowing who he's looking for. Right, let's get you some furniture, I say as I take him by the arm. We push our way through the busy street until we reach the London Furniture Company. I wonder if that's a real thing or if I just made that up off the top of my head. I probably made that up off the top of my head. The building is a large establishment that is 4 stories tall. I smile in satisfaction, knowing that we will get something here for sure. That seems... why would there be a 4-story furniture place? Maybe there is, but that doesn't... Although I don't have much money, Mr. Todd has a lot on him. Where'd he get this money? I'm guessing he managed to get it all on his way to London. After we pick up what we want and pay the money, we leave and head off to the next destination. Now, the gentleman said that the furniture we bought should be delivered by Sunday. I say aloud to myself, mainly. Why would it be delivered on Sunday? Sunday is church-going day. I'm not even religious and I know this stuff. Mr. Todd grunts as a response. I try not to comment on his grunting, seeing he sounds like a dog when he does it. Even if I did comment on it, I bet he'd grunt in response. I chuckle at the thought. What's so funny? He asks me. I look at him and smile slightly. Oh, nothing, Mr. Todd, I answer. To no surprise, he grunts. My smile widens, but I suppress my laughter. We make our way through the bleeding crowd to go and buy some paint for the walls. What color paint do you want? I ask him. Gray, he answers. I give him a look. Okay. I use the American version of gray here, which is Gray. Seeing this, well, I guess it's fine that I use the American version, but the English version of gray is Grey. I used the English version of color in the last sentence, so if I really wanted to stay, proper with that, I should have used the English version, but I don't think I was aware of the English version at the time. If I was, then I was an idiot for using the American version. I give him a look. Isn't that a bit on the blonde side? Wouldn't you want something more? No, he interrupts. I look at him and he's giving one of his cold stares, so I drop it and we pick out his lively choice of color. After that's done, we head back to Fleet Street. The next day, we all start peeling the walls above the wood paneling. I thought that Toby already took care of this. Oh, painting the wall. I'm sorry. Painting. It was just because of all the stupid accents, it looked like it said peeling. Painting, sorry. We all do our own wall. Me doing the slanted one with the large window on it. Toby does the smallest wall, and Mr. Todd does the opposite of me. When I finish the wall I'm on, I start on the wall that no one is working on yet. It takes me a second to notice that Mr. Todd has joined me with painting the last wall. Soon after, Toby joins him too. After 10 minutes, the painting is done. So it took them all 10 minutes to do all that painting? Or is it like after 10 minutes of all of them joining in on that wall that they finished painting? Explain, please. I take a step back and look over the paint job. Oh, this is smashing, I say with satisfaction. That was exhausting, though. Yeah, because you guys were probably painting like this. Next wall! Trust me, dearie, it's worth it. I turned my attention on Mr. Todd, who was looking over the walls. Is this to your satisfaction, Mr. Todd? I ask him. Yes, he answers quietly. Good. Now you two should go sit your weary bones down in the parlor while I stop dinner. I say to the 2 boys as I head out of the shop. So Mr. Todd turned into a kid, apparently. I go down to my room to change it to something cleaner, and I put my hair up in its usual bun. When I turn to leave the room, I jump slightly to see Mr. Todd standing at the doorway. Yeah, he watched you get dressed, apparently. Christ, Mr. Todd, you gave me a fright. I exclaim as I settle down me nerves. As I settle down me nerves. Okay then. Interesting. Perhaps you should take a rest, Mrs. Lovett. I'll take care of dinner. he says sternly as he crosses his arms. I am a bit shocked by this, seeing he hasn't really said a kind word to me since he's returned. I don't need a rest, Mr. Todd. I'm quite fine, thank you, I say to him. He raises his eyebrows at me. Ever since I've come back, you've done nothing but work. I want you to rest, Mrs. Lovett. Are you sure you can handle cooking dinner? I ask him. I'm quite capable of cooking, Mrs. Lovett. He says flatly as he approaches me. He places his hand on the small of my back and leads me down to the parlor. Well, at least he's still a gentleman. I take a seat on the couch as Mr. Todd heads into the kitchen. Toby and I exchange glances before the boy gets up and joins Mr. Todd in the kitchen. I hate, sitting here as they work. I never liked slacking off, but I suppose Mr. Todd is right about me having to rest, seeing I am a tad bit sore. After waiting about a half an hour, dinner's done, and we all settle down and eat. Well, Mr. Todd, this is delicious, I say after taking my first bite. It was very quick and short-lived, but I saw Mr. Todd smile at me compliment. I just can't picture Sweeney Todd smiling unless he's thinking about killing someone. Or he's putting on a show. I look over at Toby and I can tell that he likes the meal too. Honestly, I never thought I'd ever eat a man's cooking and actually enjoy it. So here's the stereotype that men can't cook. When we all finish eating, I start to clean up and Mrs. Todd stops me from doing so. I'll take care of it, he says in his deadpan voice. I go to protest, but the man gives me his usual look, so I reluctantly go into the parlor. It's late at night when I was reading in me parlor. I had sent Toby to bed an hour ago, so here I am reading me current novel. I look beyond the book to see Mr. Todd standing in the doorway, watching me with those dark orbs. Okay, is this supposed to be in if this is supposed to be her telling the story, shouldn't it be in past tense, or is it supposed to be happening as she's talking about it? I don't know. Can't sleep, dear? I ask him. He takes a step into the room. I notice the light, so I came down to check up on you, he answers quietly. Well, I'm quite all right, Mr. Todd, I say to him. Thank you, he says quietly. I look up at him. For what? For helping me out, he answers. I smile at him. Oh, any time, dear. Now, you should go to bed, I say as I turn my attention back to the book I'm reading. He nods and he leaves for his apartment. I smile to myself, very happy that he's grateful for once. Eventually, I start to drift off to sleep, dreaming about a life that doesn't seem possible. Oh, how cute, I'm getting cavities. I hope that this chapter wasn't too boring. I kind of thought it was, and you thought right. Some of you are probably going to say to me in a review, don't be so hard on yourself, but the thing is, being hard on myself pushes me to write better. If you know what I mean, please review. Yeah. So, yeah. Story is kind of bad. It's not as bad as I remember it being, but I think it was more like near the middle in the end where it got really, really stupid. 33 minutes, yeah, this is going to be long, but... Okay, moving on to chapter 4. You know what, maybe I'll just do 5 chapters per part. How about that? Yeah, 5 chapters apart, not 10 chapters. We'll do it like that instead. It'll be more parts, but whatever. So, this chapter's called Sweeney plus Blackmail equals Death. Sweeney plus Blackmail equals Death. What type of... whatever. Let's read the author's note. Okay, guys, gals, and its. What? Okay, guys, gals, and its? Offensive much? I came across a picture yesterday that should now be on my profile picture. This picture has made me very curious on if the Sweeney Todd movie had deleted scenes or possibly an alternate ending. Why would it have an alternate ending? If any of you know if there's footage or deleted scenes or at least pictures, please let me know. Thank you. Or whatever. Now that's out of the way, enjoy. Yeah, the profile picture looks like Mrs. Lovett's hugging Sweeney Todd. But I don't know. You never saw that scene in the movie, so I have no clue. But whatever. Unless she was, I don't know. It is an interesting picture, but I highly doubt there was an alternate ending. For all we know, that could have been a funny behind-the-scenes picture where she was just hugging him randomly and someone took a picture of it and released it. Okay, Sweeney Todd. I've been pacing around my shop for 30 minutes and the judge still hasn't shown his face. I am getting angrier by the second. It was the judge's fault that I was sent to Australia, and it's the Beatles' fault for my wife's coldness towards me. I'll make them both pay dearly for their sins. I perk up when I hear my shop door open, but I see that it's Mrs. Lovett with lunch. I turn away so she won't see my scowl. It's not her fault that I'm in a bad mood, so I don't want her to see me annoyed by her presence. "Brought you lunch, Mr. Todd," she says to me back as I hear her placing the plate down on me desk. I guess I have him saying me a lot too. I have been open for a week. Come in and have sex with me. No. It should say I have had my shop open for a week. But I haven't had much customers. This also pisses me off greatly. "Thank you," I say to her as I face her. She smiles shyly at me. I don't know why she acts shy at times around me, seeing we've known each other since childhood. Then again, I'm not the same man that she knew all those years ago. "You're welcome, dearie. I'll check up on you later, all right?" I nod and she turns to leave. Sighing, I sit at my desk and I start to eat my lunch. Her boy, Toby, wasn't lying when he said that she was the best cook in London. Even as a child, she had a knack for cooking. I allow myself to smile when I think back on my childhood, when times were always great and nothing bad would ever happen. I guess having Mrs. Lovett around still helps those memories stay fresh in my mind. When I finish eating, I keep the plate on my desk for Mrs. Lovett to fetch later when she brings up my meals. I have told her that I can bring my own plates down on my own, but she insists that she'll take care of them. I know a lot of it's saying me a lot, but I've just been changing it to saying my because it's just silly saying me. I shake my head slightly as I stare out the window. That woman can be so stubborn. When I hear the door open, I turn quickly to see a ratty-looking man staring at me. I don't know why, but he seems familiar. "Mr. Todd?" he questions. "I am him, sir," I answer. Something about him makes me uneasy, especially when he smiles. "The name's Davy," he says, taking a step forward. "When I heard about a new barber in town, I had to see him for myself, you see, especially since his establishment is above Mrs. Lovett's pie shop." I look at him with a questionable look on my face. "I don't see what you're getting at," I say quietly. "Then let me make my demands known, sir. I want half your profits from this day forth, Mr. Benjamin Barker." Okay. What? Okay, this is stupid. So, I don't... This is stupid. I should have just kept Davy out of this story. He's pretty much Pirelli. I didn't put in, I guess when I wrote the story, I didn't have the whole thing with Pirelli and whatnot, so it doesn't make any sense how Davy would know that he is Benjamin Barker. Stupid. I freeze when he says my former name. How does he know? "I'm not surprised that you don't recognize me, sir. I was just a lad when I was working for you," he says casually. I look at the floor, remembering the nice lad who is now a blackmailing slime. "I knew it was you, Mr. Barker, who was really running this business again. You may look different, but I'll never forget your eyes or your face and those razors." He gestures at the open box behind me on me desk. "So what, are you like the next Sherlock Holmes, Davy? Now, I won't tell the Beadle about you as long as you give me half your profits. These are desperate times," he sneers as he gets closer to me. I reach for the razor in my holster with a shaking hand. "So what do you say to that, Mr. Sweeney Todd?" he says as he starts to laugh. This is so stupid. Unfolding my razor, I furiously stab it into the smug filth's throat. The smug filth's... I don't know. You know what? This is kind of rivaling what's his face who wrote that fanfic about me and the Blackbuster Critic when he had the smug mug comment. Smug filth's throat. Okay, I guess this is better than smug mug, but still. I do so over and over again until he is dead on the floor. I stare down at the body and chuck. Did I seriously just do that? I look at my razor, and I feel oddly calm. Casually, I wipe the blood off, not reacting to the sound of someone running up the stairs leading to my shop. Sweetie Todd got arrested. The end. No. Okay. Mrs. Lovett burst into my shop. "Mr. Todd, what happened?" she asked with concern and fear. I don't answer, just gesture at the corpse at my feet. How did she not notice the damn body? Unless she has, like, no peripheral vision whatsoever. She gasps, backing off slightly. He was going to blackmail me, I say quietly when she looks at me. Recognize me from the old days. I see her relax slightly, staring down at him. Oh, well, that's a different matter, she mutters. For a minute there, I thought you lost your marbles. I watch her with fascination when she searches his body for cash. She finds a small coin purse and sticks it into her bosom. She notices the look I'm giving her and she shrugs. Want not, waste not. Wrong waist. Or maybe not. Yeah, that is the wrong waist. She says simply, Mrs. Lovett, you never cease to amaze me, I say quietly. She smiles at my compliment and looks at the body again. Well, what do you suppose we do with him? She asks me with crossed arms. I turn my attention to the sailor's crate by the door. I go over and open the crate. Then I pick up the body and lay it down inside and close the door. We'll dispose of him later when it's dark, I say to her. All right, let's get the floor clean, eh? She says to me as she leaves the room. For 5 minutes later, she returns with a bucket of water and a few cloths. Take off that shirt and change it to a new one. You got blood on it, she says to me as she starts scrubbing the floor. I do as I'm told, not wanting to scare off the judge if he does come knocking later. When I finish changing, she finishes with the floor. She takes the shirt from me and leaves me alone in my shop. Another 15 minutes passed without a customer. I growl slightly when I stare out of my window to the filthy city below me. When the door opens, I turn and freeze briefly. It's the judge, and I feel myself smile. Come for a shave, sir. Now, the next chapter should be fun to write. Please review. Okay, final chapter in this part. The chapter is called Define Crazy. Yeah, these are lame. Author's note. Sorry for the delay, folks. My laptop was occupied for the first half of the day. I'm really psyched right now. That's not how you spell psyched. Whatever. Because I just read the update for You Shall Drip Rubies by Pandora Spox, and she gave me a really nice shout out for one of my other stories. I suggest that you guys read her story too, because it's very good and well written. Anywho, enjoy chapter 5. I'll have to look up that story. If I recall correctly, that was a good story. Well, great. This is a Mrs. Lovett chapter. I was in my shop, minding my own business, when I saw someone rushing down from Mr. Todd's shop. Right after that, I heard Mr. Todd yell, "Bleeding Christ!" I stopped to head out of the shop when this boy, or was it a girl, came barreling by me. This obviously isn't good, so I head up to Mr. Todd's shop. All this shouting and running about, what happened? I asked Mr. Todd as I entered his shop. He stares at me with an eerily calm expression on his face. He was here, he mutters. Who? I ask him, getting impatient. Judge Turpin. He came for a shave. He continues. My eyes widen when I hear this. That must have been the judge who first rushed down the stairs. Oh, bloody hell. I almost had him, Mr. Todd whispers. But that bleeding sailor boy interrupted, and the judge saw him. He didn't take kindly to his presence. Oh, so it was a boy. He'll be all right, Mr. Todd. There's always next time. No! Mr. Todd yells furiously at me. The judge says that he'll never come again. Oh, that's really bad. Maybe he should consider getting some pills for that if he's never going to come. It might be hard if he wants to have children. This isn't good. Mr. Todd is as red as a tomato. And he has his eyes set on me, just my luck. Now, Mr. Todd, he probably didn't mean it. He'll have to get a shave eventually, I reason, or at least try to. Why did I wait? He asks himself, ignoring me completely. Taking this opportunity, I quietly stop to leave when he grabs me on my arm harshly. I turn around to see that he's mere inches away from my face. Now, if he didn't look so like a madman, I'd probably be blushing because of how close he is to me. But seeing he looks like he's ready to kill anyone close to him, well, yeah, you all get that I'm shaking my boots right now. Is she, like, supposed to be breaking the fourth wall? Yes, I think I wrote this story so Mrs. Lovett's breaking the fourth wall. You don't do that! Where do you think you're going, Mrs. Lovett? He asks me in a low growl. I try my hardest not to tremble in his grasp, seeing I don't like to show fear. Oh god, you guys should be very thankful that I'm not reading this in the accent that I have in this story. Oh my god, it's like really stupid. It would be Susan if she was drunk. You need to calm down. You need some time to calm down, Mr. Todd. Now, will you kindly release me? I ask as calmly as I can. His eyes narrow slightly as he grins, sending chills down my spine. No, Mrs. Lovett, I do not want to be alone, he says in a mockingly sweet voice as he leads me to his barber chair. He archly throws me into it, holding me still with his hand, ramming my shoulder into the back of the chair. I feel my heart racing when he presses his razor blade up against my throat. "We all deserve to die, Mrs. Lovett," he says calmly. "Even you and myself." He teases me by gently caressing my neck with his free hand. "Why do we all deserve to die?" I ask him, no longer caring that my voice is trembling as much as my body. "Because, my dear, the lives of the wicked should be made brief, while for the rest of us death will be relief." Ha ha, Dr. Seuss. Well, that was from the song, but whatever. "It's all very simple to understand," he replies, pressing the blade closer to my throat. "Well, that may be true, but not all of us want to die, Mr. Todd. Not all of us want to die, you see. I got a son and I need to take care of," I say quickly. Mr. Todd says nothing to my words. Instead, he slowly moves the blade away and allows me to get up. I do not move from my spot as I watch him pace around the room like a caged animal. "I will have vengeance," he growls. I'm guessing to himself. Suddenly, he points the razor at something in the room, causing me to jump by the sudden action. "You, sir, how about a shave? Who the bleeding hell is he talking to?" I watch him as he starts yelling at invisible people who are apparently in the room with us. Under different circumstances, I'd find this rather funny. However, seeing Mr. Todd acting this way deeply concerns me. "Come and visit your good friend Sweeney." He starts to approach me, so I quickly move out of the way, relieved that he walked right by. He continues like this for another 5 minutes. Bloody hell, the poor man is out of his mind. "Who, sir? You, sir? No one's in the chair. Come on. Sweeney's waiting." He turns his attention towards me. "I want you, bleeder." I panic when he stalks towards me with that bleeding razor in his hand. He then lunges towards me, but I'm not going to let him threaten me again. Oh, there's a cat. "Oh, no, you don't," I mutter as I dodge him. And instead of trying to go after me again, he goes to the window and stares out of it. "Not one man, no, nor 10 men, no 100 can assuage me. I will have you." Yes, I know I could be singing the words, but I'm not going to make you guys suffer with that. Also, I don't want to scare the crap out of my neighbors. He yells loudly. He yells loudly. Yep, he's lost it. He starts to pace about the room again, swinging that razor around as if he's attacking someone. Sorry, the cat. I keep my distance from him, watching him collapse onto his knees. "I'm alive at last, and I'm full of joy," he booms. Then he just sits there, on his knees with his arms spread open and holding 2 of his razors. Cautiously, I approach. "That's all very well. What are we going to do about him?" I ask, looking towards the sailor's crate. Mr. Todd lowers his arms, saying absolutely nothing to me. "Hello?" I ask, getting closer to him. He doesn't respond at all, just stares out into space. He does. I sigh and I get behind him and pull him to his feet. "Come along, you greatly useless thing," I say, muttering the last part. With some effort, I manage to get us both down the stairs and into my shop. I lead him to the booth, and I sit him down. Then I head to me parlor, and I see my lad sleeping on the couch with that bloody jug of gin in his hand. Bleeding Christ, no matter where I hide it, he always finds it. Pushing me thoughts aside, I take the bottle from him and head back into his shop. Well, I really hope that Mr. T has come back to his senses. Oh, this was so much fun to write myself as Mrs. Lovett's. It's so much fun to write myself as Mrs. Lovett's thoughts. I really hope I did not write this story as a way to have me be Mrs. Lovett. I really hope that's not the case. I don't think that's the case. I pray it's not the case. I think it was more of a deal where it was what my thoughts would probably be if I was in Mrs. Lovett's shoes, but oh my god, no. Okay, so here's the first 5 chapters. End of part 1. Oh my god, 48 minutes long. Ha ha ha. Stay tuned for part 2 of whatever. Thank you all for watching.